I thought to myself, are those fantastical things here with us in those same nooks and crannies? Maybe the beauty that you can only really see in media might exist also in everyday life.
My name is Vercreek, and my job is anime.
My name is Vince Allen R. Lopez, also known as Vercreek. I work as a key animator for Japanese animation, and I am currently 21 years old. The name of Vercreek was something I thought about when I was really young. I sort of just took V and just randomized letters in my head until I came up with Vercreek. All I knew in the beginning was that I wanted a name that was unique and easily recognizable. It's a bit of a weird name, but in the end, it sort of stuck around. I started when I was about 17 when I was introduced by a friend. It was a community called Hyun's Dojo. It's a place in where you sort of make your own character and then you sort of pit your character against another animator. I would come back from school and I would sort of just draw my parts every day. At a certain point, I was able to attract some of the attentions of the production assistants that were doing scouting work over on Twitter. A friend of mine introduced me to Sword Art Online, and that was where I finally took what you could call the full workload you would expect out of a professional. On Jujutsu Kaisen episode 13 of the first season, and generally during that time as an animator, I had a lot of problem with stamina. I was not able to continue my work and somebody always had to sort of clean up after my mess. I made so many mistakes that I sort of felt like the shame of the production. However, I realized as a young person, I was given the chance to make these mistakes. Slowly but surely, I can make those failures into the foundation of success that I could make in the future. When I look at my work in Frieren now, I was able to sort of portray the things I wanted in a much more concise way. Being able to draw the arm before would take me a minute, now it would only take me a second. I believe I was able to get to that point only after 4 years of studying. When I was working with Hakyugo-san on the Fate Camelot movie, something I noticed strictly was that he never really talks about drawing or motion. He talks about intent, how to feel, how to sense. People like that who are very experienced almost never talk about drawing or motion, and that surprised me. Because to me, that was what I thought all there was. And I started to notice the underlying intent as you grow up, as you gain more experience. You look at the same things you've always watched and start to notice something new. The more the thought of intent sort of roamed in my mind, I sort of find myself gravitating towards Hayao Miyazaki. There was this one interview. He sort of just looks at the leaves on the trees and he looks enamored by it. For someone to be able to make such fantastical worlds in his movies, yet take inspiration in the most mundane things, maybe the beauty that you can only really see in media might exist also in everyday life. It's a bit simple, but one of the things I really like, one of the foods that I really like in Japan is TKG, egg on rice. I feel like it completes the rice. Feels like something's missing now. Whenever there's no raw egg on top. I like collecting brass bells, old naval compasses, and sort of like treasure chests. I sort of liked surrounding myself in those sort of things. Old vintages and antiques are interesting. It's sort of a look into an old world that we don't really see anymore. It feels like relics of an old past. I think there's something magical in that. Working as an English-speaking only foreign animator sort of has its upsides and downsides. It's its own kind of loneliness, I think. Never meeting the people you talk to and work with every day. I think that's not something I guess like Japanese natives really think about. Because like, you know, the industry you work in is already here. But for us, you have to, you know, get a bachelor's degree to get a work visa, or you have to study language school and then go to another vocational school. It sort of adds to the difficulty of a foreign animator, but as a foreigner, depending on where you are, like the difference between the living expenses are so wide that if you're in the Philippines, usually the pay would be kind of similar to an engineer's or doctor's salary. If you're, say, in Australia or America or any European country, it's not very feasible to work on anime only. So usually anime becomes a side job or unfeasible at all. I've heard of Americans who stayed here, but they sort of had to leave their home and work here permanently. Otherwise, they sort of have American companies or American studios that they work for to sort of keep up with the living expense. There is no shame in taking that first step and tumbling. I think it's a greater shame to our first and only life in this world to waste it on our self-doubt. And whether it be our own perseverance or sheer dumb courage, I think the only way forward is forward. Mistake or not, whether we tumble or not, I think I would like to see the sunrise in a new day.